Yo, what's up, guys? This is DSP, David Stephen Patterson, and today I've got a message for you about mindsets. But before I go into that, though, for all of you folks who've asked me, David, why are you always holding a mallet in so many of your videos? Well, as you can see, I've got the gong. I ring that gong every time I close a deal. I also ring that gong every time somebody in our Facebook group, the HERC, the Headhunter and Executive Recruiter Community, uh, either has a personal record or goes out into the business for themselves or what you close their biggest deal, whatever it is. So if you ever need the gong rung or need a gong hit, as we call it in the group, feel free to let me know and I'll get you started. So with that said, though, I want to talk to you about mindset. You see, I'm sure you've created your 2019 plan, and I'm sure it looks amazing, right? Probably more amazing than this. Maybe it's bound, and it's amazing font and pictures and graphs and charts and Venn diagrams and all that kind of shit, all right? Here's the thing about your 2019 plan. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because what happens for the vast majority of us, and you may be in that group most likely, is you create your plan over the new year or the break, right? The holiday break. So over Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever it is that you celebrate, and New Year's, and creating a plan is fantastic. It causes this dopamine trigger in your head. It's actually it's very addictive to create plans because you're dreaming, okay? Because you're dreaming. But the problem is, and the reason why so many people don't ever really achieve their plans is because they can't stick them through. They don't do the small things and they don't set their standards up high enough to where they can achieve their plan. Now, I'll explain more about what that means here in a few minutes. But ultimately, it comes down to mindset. It's the same reason why the gyms are full January 2nd, January 3rd, right? And then people stop coming third week January, fourth week January. By mid February, it is a ghost town, relatively speaking, okay? So the problem, and this happens year after year after year, and people are getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and in more debt and in more debt, and their personal lives continue to suck, and eventually they just quit dreaming because they figure, what's the point? So for you, if your goal has, or if your plan is literally the same year after year after year, and if your plan is literally the same year after year after year, you got a mindset problem. And that was my problem for years. Because if I would have achieved every single plan, right, that I created, I'd be a multi-billionaire by now. Obviously, that hasn't happened. Not yet. But all I'm trying to say is it comes down to your mindset. It's an immutable law of the universe. The biggest immutable law of the universe is that your number one enemy, the number one thing that's holding you back from achieving your dreams, is you. It is you 100%. You are your own worst enemy, and you know it's true. You see, here's the thing about people, right? Most people behave like the law of cause and effect doesn't apply to them. They try to cheat cause and effect. It's the reason why people go out drinking and get drunk only to, hey, guess what? You're hungover the next day and your mind is foggy and you're not as motivated and you wake up late and you wonder why you're not achieving your dreams. Okay? Because they're trying to cheat cause and effect, right? Trying to accomplish something different this year, doing the same thing you've done every year. Maybe the reason why you are where you are right now is because of the actions that you've taken thus far, right? And it's because of who you are thus far. So change who you are, right? A fundamental part of a plan. A fundamental part of the plan isn't just the numbers and your your projected call time for the year, and how many job orders you're going to get, and how many interviews you're going to get, what your goal is for your interview to placement ratio, and blah 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 blah. You can talk to any recruiting trainer in the world and get a great 2019 yearly planning template to figure that out. But that doesn't matter unless you significantly change who you are inside. And I wish I would have figured this out years ago, right? You have to change who you are because it's a reflection of the business, right? If you're cheap to your suppliers, your clients are probably going to be cheap with you. You judge other people, you're never going to do what you want to do. You're never going to put yourself out there because you'd be afraid of people judging you, right? If you don't invest in yourself, if you don't invest in coaches and trainers and do everything you can to invest in who you are and your abilities, then others will not invest in you, including your clients. All right? Who you are is reflective in the business, right? Candidly, who you are is certainly reflected in your job, but it's multiplied by 10 when you're a business owner, when you're an independent recruiter, or when you have other recruiters that work for you. It's magnified, right? And so you have to approach your life in all the little things. Like every single one of the little things has a dramatic impact on your life and your business, because it does. You got to become the client that you want to attract, right? You got to be decisive when making a decision, because otherwise your prospects are going to take their time before making a decision as well, right? It's all those little things that are important to make sure that you're becoming the person that you want to be. Actually, you're becoming the person that you need to be. Otherwise, 2019 is going to be the same as 2018, which was the same as 2017, which was the same as 2016 and 2015 and 2014. And oh my God, right? Shoot myself in the head. It took me years to figure this out. It took me years to figure this out, that people generally don't have business problems. They've got personal problems that reflects in their business. Okay? Sometimes it could be an overeating problem. They're unhealthy. Their house is always dirty. Their car is always dirty. Their personal life isn't the way it should be. Their relationship with their spouse isn't good. This was a big one for me. I had so many issues in my relationships for many, many years that really reflected in my business, right? Look, you have to be committed to every single part of your life. Commit to a clean house. Make your bed every single morning, right? Make sure your car is clean. Dress for success. Even if you work from home, right? Dress the way you want to work. Now, that doesn't mean wearing a suit and tie every day. Obviously, I don't. But at the same time, I don't have bedhead and I'm not wearing pajamas. I make sure that my shit's taken care of because it reflects on my business. Okay? You got to get into this success pattern. And what this is, it's called a spiral of success. The spiral of success starts very small, right? Get small wins. That's the concept of making your bed every day. You get that. Heck, in fact, it's not even just with making the bed, it's just getting up. Think about the very first thing that you do in the morning when that alarm clock goes off, right? Do you A, get up right away? Bam. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, out of bed. Or B, do you do like what most people do? You hit that snooze button. And then 9 minutes later, you hit the snooze button again. And then you slowly get up out of bed. Well, you start off the day with a loss. The very first decision you make every single day is, do I hit that snooze button, or do I 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 get up out of bed and hit the day hard? Okay? It's that small decision, that small win leads to the next win. Do I just leave my bed messy, or do I make it every day? Right? It's a small little win. It's a cornerstone habit. Make that bed, okay? and then make sure I get my 10 minutes of meditation in. Make sure I get my 30 minutes of Wim Hof breathing in. That's a breathing technique I do in the mornings, right? Make sure I take a hot shower, but I also take a cold shower, right? It helps wake me up and invigorates me. There's little things that get you going, right? And that reflects in your business, right? Are you late to things? Because if you're late to one thing, you're late to everything. How you do the small things is how you do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So commit to excellence in every single part of your life. You see, people don't have a problem not really achieving their dreams. It's not so much your inability to go out and achieve your dreams, okay? It's not having your standards high enough. People are not going to dip below their standards. So for a lot of successful people, they're really good at really managing their downside, realizing that there's that devil inside of them, right? There's that demon inside, that dark force. Or if you ever read Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, he talks about the resistance. The resistance inside of you that keeps you from doing the things that you need to do, that keeps you from accomplishing your higher purpose or being who you want to be, or billing more than you ever billed before, maybe hitting that 7 figures, or finally going independent, or finally going out and hiring other recruiters, okay? You have to commit to understanding that demon inside of you, that dark force inside of you that's keeping you from all those things, and be willing to look it dead in the eye, because that's what removes its power. But people are afraid to do so. So they continue in their lives kind of with blinders on and completely just unaware of all those negative things in their life that are keeping them from what they need to do, right? So start becoming healthy. Start going to bed early. Start waking up early. You say you're not a morning person, that's because you haven't woken up early in years. Nobody's a morning person. Nobody's a night owl. It's just your pattern of existence. I hear people all the time say, I can't fall asleep before 12:30. Well, if you worked on yourself and started getting up really early and practicing going to bed 5 minutes early, and then 5 minutes earlier, then 5 minutes earlier, and 5 minutes earlier, you'll get to where you want to go. It's just people aren't willing to do that work. They try to go to bed early a couple of times. They stay up all night because they can't seem to fall asleep because their body isn't used to it. Their circadian rhythms are off. And they decide, oh, well, I'm a night owl, right? And they tell themselves these stories of who they are. It's the same thing with children, right? If you tell a child, that they are one way over and over and over again, they become that way. When you tell a child that they're smart and they're intelligent and they're awesome and they're a hard worker, right? They'll inside become those things. When you tell a child that they're lazy, then they'll continue to be those things. It's why with my daughter, we had her mother saying, she'd always say that she was slow. Not slow as far as mentally, but just, she'd always get ready for things slow or do things slowly, right? Because she'd always want to take her time. And I would always try to tell her, don't say that, right? Like with my daughter, I always try to say, you're smart. You're great at math. Math is your strength. You're really good at reading. You're really fast. Like you want to start creating the mental stories in their head. But it's not like when we become an adult, that thing goes away. The same principle still applies, right? And it's all about the patterns and the tempos of our lives that affects so many other areas of our lives, right? Again, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. You have a messy bed, you have a messy business. You have a messy car, you have a messy recruiting practice, right? You must commit to excellence in every single facet of your life, every single facet of your existence, from the car to your home, to making your bed, to your finances, to your relationships. That's a really, really big one. And to your health. You sleep well, eat well, exercise, drink lots of water, Drink alcohol at a minimum. One of the best things I ever did for myself was dramatically cut down what I drink. I used to drink every single day, and back when I used to be, heck, I used to be very strong, very in shape, and I was still smoking at a minimum a half pack a day and getting drunk every single night. It would 100% affected my business. When I cut that shit out, it made a dramatic change, right? So make sure you set your life up to where your house is always clean. If you don't have time, hire a cleaner. Okay? You can hire a cleaner to come over and clean your house every week, every 2 weeks. In fact, I've got cleaners here right now cleaning my house. Okay? Make sure your computer's clean. Make sure your phone's clean. Make sure your desktop is clean. Okay? Groom yourself. If you work from home, don't go to work with bedhead and in pajamas. Get up, groom yourself, shave. I'm not a big shaver, but if you do, shave, right? Dress well, dress for success. Doesn't mean you have to wear a shirt and tie every day. I don't. But I still make sure I look good, right? You need to take your life seriously. If you take your life seriously, you'll take your business seriously. And you'll achieve a lot of success. And that 2019 plan that you set for yourself, so that you know in the back of your head you're probably not gonna stick with, right? You'll actually stick with it. So people tend to become their lowest standards. Whatever your lowest standards are, you become that. Remember, life is really more about managing your downside than managing the upside, right? People's downsides are typically more potent, and people spend more time on that trough than they do up here where their dreams are at. So it's really important. The most successful people in the world recognize their own weaknesses. They recognize their own faults. And so instead of being like I was for many years, I was a dreamer, and I screwed myself so many times because I didn't manage my downside. Manage your downsides, because the downsides are so much more dangerous. Again, you get stuck in there longer. They're definitely more potent than the ups. So standards. Set your standards high. What will you accept and what will you not accept, right? You have to be willing to set really high standards. It's the lowest version of ourselves that we can accept. So, what is your lowest version of yourself that you can accept? Because otherwise, you'll never achieve your dreams, right? Now, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take your highest dream and make that your standard. You also have to be realistic. Work diligently and be smart about it. Work incrementally, right? Remember, compounding interest is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. But you have to remember that as human beings, we will do a lot more not to lose something. We'll run from pain more than running towards pleasure, more than gaining something. Okay? So you have to set your standards high. And if you don't meet your standards, right, there has to be some sort of painful retribution, right? Some sort of loss. You have to recognize that and be willing to do that. You have to be willing to set those high standards. And you must be willing to face that devil that lives inside all of us. Facing your dark side, is important. People tend to run for their problems and their fears. Again, the pain of loss, right? So you have to be willing to look the devil in the eye and say, not today. Not today and not ever. And what you'll find is when you do that, that dark force inside of you, that power tends to go away. But you have to be willing to clean that out. And it takes a lot of self-reflection. You have to look in the mirror, and it's really hard to do. It's why when people go through Alcoholics Anonymous, one of the first things that you're supposed to do is do a personal inventory. Right? Personal inventories are really hard to do. So I recommend when you create your 2000, actually when you've already have your 2019 plan here in front of you, you've got that now. Hopefully you should go and do a personal inventory as well. Set your standards, right? But also know where you're coming from and know your demons. The moment you confront your demons, typically that's when those demons lose all power. Okay, but remember, hold the line. Hold the line. A breach in one area of your life becomes a breach in all areas of your life. Make your bed every day. Never again hit the snooze button. Make that a commitment, right? There has to be a standard. Has to be a standard, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and it has a magnifying effect on the rest of your life. Okay? So you can't cheat that. There's no way that is an immutable law. One of the most, if you get this right, it'll be one of the most profitable things that you will ever do for yourself. Unfortunately, most people will not do it because it's hard. It's hard, and it takes looking in the mirror at the true you and realizing, okay, maybe you aren't all that you cracked up to be, right? Maybe you're not all that in a bag of chips, and you have to recognize that, realize who you are, and start setting standards, even if they're incremental, but get your standards up over time, right? Start waking up 5 minutes earlier every couple days. Get that alarm clock back down, right? Get it down from 7:30 to 7:25 and 7:20 and 7:15 until you start waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and you become so much more productive, right? So that's what you have to make sure that you commit to this year, not just the plan, right? Commit to your inner self. Commit to your mindset more than anything else that will help you achieve your dreams for 2019. All right? So get on it. One last thing as well, guys, before I sign off here. If any of you guys are interested in the Lighthouse Method, right? Now, I don't talk so much about mindset here. This is really more about marketing, the marketing of your recruitment practice, how to establish a higher level offer that your prospects actually want, that is significantly different than what your competitors offer, and how to market effectively over social media, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all those. And for you folks to say, God damn, I got so many clients, I need candidates. Well, candidly, if you have a candidate problem, usually it's a client problem. You get better clients, you get better candidates. Just having 20 contingency job orders on your board, thinking I've got enough clients. It's not really a candidate problem. It's a lack of quality on the client side. Getting contingency job orders, nothing. So you can use the same methodology though with candidates, right? So that said, download this guide. The link is down below. It is awesome, right? Get that. It's down there below. And with that said, guys, have a great 2019. And as always, happy hunting.